Hello and welcome to Ready Bet Action. I'm your host, Stefan Laco, joined as always by @Doran_Eric, the Eric Doran. You can find him on all the socials. We're excited to be with you on a Tuesday night. Eric reminded me just before we hit record that it is in fact Tuesday, January 16th. We're giving you bets for Wednesday, NBA, and a soccer parlay. It's going to be a lot of fun. I wanted to, before we jump into things, Eric, we should tell the listeners about our new cadence, our rhythm for the week. But also, I was at Trader Joe's down in Boulder, and they suckered me into a Holland Pilsner. And
Does
taste
it taste
test.
like home?
Let's see.
Tastes like home?
No, it does. It doesn't have
It
much
does,
flavor
huh?
at all. It's basically it's like a Miller, but they would be so offended to hear that.
The king of beers. How do you say the king of beers in Dutch?
De koning van bier.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And we are up live on Instagram, by the way. Hopefully, we got some people join us live. We're up live on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So, hopefully, grabbing some people and some live viewers there. But yeah, let's talk about this new cadence. So, I think an effort.
I got you to say cadence, which makes me happy.
Is that good?
It's just a silly word.
Yeah, it is. And then, yeah, I think we're going to be coming to you Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays and really trying to cover most of your sports week on those days as much as we can. Might get a little tricky with some things like player props on given days and whatnot, but we'll be out on the socials. So don't forget to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, X, and other podcasts sites.
And honestly, like TikTok is probably that's where we are making our videos, and that's the first place they drop. And then we when we remember, we put them on Instagram as well. And then if one of us still remembers, maybe it goes on Twitter. So definitely check out TikTok. We want to be in that space. Not that I don't watch TikTok at all. I'm only on there to make our silly videos.
I have a real problem.
But it's fun. So yeah, definitely check us out there. And like you said, like if other stuff comes up, we will be talking about it. And like when big tournaments come up, March Madness, we've got the Euros coming up this summer. Like we're going to be doing way more shows. So don't you fear, good people of the internet.
Absolutely. Look at our one whole viewer right now. Let's get into it. Do you want to start with your soccer pick, or where do you want to?
We're gonna start. And I don't think many people are watching the Asian Cup, but you can be because the Qatar game starts at 7:30. And while I had a lot of issues with the World Cup being in Qatar and all the just mess that went on with it, I do like them to beat. I do like them to beat Syria here tomorrow. Tajikistan tomorrow. Qatar beat Lebanon 3-0. They're showed that they're not like completely outclassed in their recent friendlies. So I like them. They're one of the favorites to win the Asian Cup. So I like them.
They're all mercenaries, right? Like that's a lot of
not all, but yes,
it's a mercenary-based team. It is the Boba Fett of soccer teams. Sorry, Star Wars reference. Didn't mean to interrupt you there.
We're going to parlay that with Australia to beat Syria. Australia is, one of the most successful Asian teams there is. They qualify through the Asian with, because Oceania doesn't have enough. So that's why anyway, no one cares about how World Cup qualifying works right now.
I think it's confusing to see a bunch of white people run onto the Asian Cup. So I think that's a good explanation.
But all that to say, we are going to take Qatar on the money line, parlayed with Australia on the money line, and we get that up -120. One of those games is tomorrow on Wednesday. The other is on Thursday. But that's it for me, Eric. That's all I have. Why don't you give us your props for the NBA?
Yeah, let's start with my one game pick that I have. Then I'm going to give you a few player props. I'll give you a little rundown of how I've been approaching player props in the NBA. And we've been approaching these kind of from like a round robin betting standpoint on our personal betting, but I want to start sharing that more here, based on when player props are available and that kind of thing. So first of all, give me the Rockets versus the Knicks. Give me Knicks -4. I do realize Jalen Brunson is questionable. I do understand that. However,
I've never heard of that guy before, my dude.
See, this is why I'm making the NBA picks.
Yes.
The Rockets are, I think, surprisingly good, but are very bad away. They are 4-15 on the road. So give me the Knicks. Julius Randle, who's been playing just out of his mind. Give me the Knicks to take care of business at home and cover that 4-point spread. I like that the most tomorrow.
Can I ask you a quick question on that?
Yeah, let's go.
How early do you make your NBA bets, knowing that sometimes, especially road games, players might be rested, stuff like that, as I knock my screen over? Do you usually wait to bet a couple hours before the game, or are you happy to make bets early on if you know what's going to happen?
No, you're right. You don't really even want to make NBA bets until a couple hours before the game, because you never know that people sit their stars last minute. Like you don't know. Like someone who's ready to go one day is out the next day, and the NBA is such like, oh, this guy has a slightly bruised toenail. He's going to sit out tonight. And really, it's just like an excuse for load management and that kind of thing, which they're trying to like get rid of, but there's still plenty of cushion for load management in the NBA. So you don't really want to place your bets on NBA until a couple hours before. I realize that means your numbers might not be as great, but honestly, It's not worth it. If the big player's out, the NBA is a superstar league, man. If a superstar's sitting, then your bet's totally hosed. So that's my opinion on NBA betting.
I like it. Let's go. What else you got?
All right. There's a few props here based on what's available tonight. You can go check this out. Look up some player consistency ratings. I really like to make my picks based on what players have been consistent over the last 10 games. So either all these players are above 80% for these numbers in their last 10 games. And not only that, they have a pretty big differential from what they average. So I typically filter out based on an 80% consistency rating. And then I'm looking at, how much does this person average? And then what's kind of the biggest delta between what the books are giving us? So give me Killian Hayes, for example, for the Pistons. So we're going to take him under 12.5 points and assists. So he's been hitting under this mark at 80%, and he only averages 8.8 points and assists on the year. So I like that that's a big differential, and that he's been hitting under this mark a lot lately. I'll give you one more Pistons player. We're going to take Jalen Duren over 24.5 points and rebounds. He averages 28.8, and then he's been getting over 24.5 points and rebounds 90% of the time his last 10 games. So 9 out of the last 10 games, he has hit this number. For those of you who need a little math breakdown for you. We don't do math here. We don't do math. Last but not least, my last pick for the NBA for Thursday is going to be Saddiq Bey, over 17.5 points and rebounds. He hits this over 80% the last 10 games, and then he averages 20.3 points and rebounds a game. So those are the ones I like for tomorrow because that's what's available. If you want to go research that yourself and use that same methodology, I'd encourage you to go check it out. Go take a look at what's out there, and you're welcome to see if there's any other players you like as they release more props tomorrow. But typically all the props aren't out there until about 1 or 2 p.m. I'm just going to give you what we can on nights like this and just save you a lot of time.
So are you putting these together? Are you recommending people put these together? I'm not even recommending, but you know what I mean? Like a 3-round robin, or are you doing individual bets on this? How are you playing this yourself?
We're doing individual on these for the show, but if you can,
and are they all at like minus 110 ish?
Yes, yeah. And if you can gather up, they're all between minus 110 and minus 125. I forgot to put that in here. And if you can gather like 7-8 players that are having really high consistency rankings on a given night, which we've done and seen a lot of success with, then yeah, round robin that up. If you can hit 5 out of 7 players, you're making some really good money on a round robin style betting. So, I would definitely encourage you to go take a look at that option if you can get that. I think it's harder with 3 players. It's like, I don't know.
You have to hit
3. Yeah, exactly. So if you can get a good pool of players and just round robin the mess out of that, I'm a big fan of that. So yeah.
And we'll do a episode kind of going through how we are recommending people bet these tables, but we'll do that another time. For now, why don't we break down our picks for tomorrow and Thursday? But before we do that, Want to remind everyone to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and X, and wherever you are listening. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Let's get into it, Eric. I'm going to give you my soccer play, and then we will go over to the NBA. I have in the Asian Cup, we have Qatar on the money line, and we are going to parlay that with Australia on the money line. So you can get that as Eric and I both click it at the same time. You can get that at minus 120. Again, Qatar and Australia parlayed on the money line.
Awesome. I'm going to head over to the NBA. Let's take the Knicks -4 versus the Rockets tomorrow night. Give me Killian Hayes for the Pistons under 12.5 points and assists. Give me Jalen Duren over 24 points and rebounds. And give me Saddiq Bey over 17.5 points and rebounds.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you guys for listening. Again, do follow us on TikTok and the others. Eric, I'm sure, will be dropping some more plays as they get released throughout the week. We will be back with you Thursday night for your Friday action. Until then, he's Eric. I'm Stefan. Talk to you soon.